Today we have news from Wayne County, Michigan, one of the most important counties in all of the US for Joe Biden. He won the county with 70% of the vote, a margin wide enough to account for double that of his vote margin statewide. However, two GOP canvassers have refused to certify the results over discrepancies in the register rolls. This quickly led to Democrats, backed up by the angry mob, to strong-arm them into changing their mind. They received death threats, they were doxed, they were called all the usual defamatory remarks, racist, white supremacist, you've heard them all before. It escalated to the president himself calling them to ask them about their well-being. This is an incredible series of events, but it's one that we've become all too familiar of, and we're somewhat desensitized to it now. This is Political Election 2020. Before we jump into this one, just very quickly, as always, if you do enjoy the content, please consider giving us a subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, and comment down below. It all helps us with the algorithm, get the channel out there. And obviously, we enjoy having discussions down in the comment section as well with everyone. And we're up to 300 subscribers now, as Connor said in the last video, something we're very proud of. And hopefully we continue to grow more. We're not going away anywhere anytime soon, or at least have no plans to, until we're doxed and thrown and scared away from coming back onto the internet. But anyway, let's jump into it. We have this article from the Detroit News. So a university official and businessman is being celebrated on social media after going viral for his heated public comments Tuesday night to the Wayne County Board of Canvassers. Ned Stabler, president and CEO of TechTown and vice president for economic development of Wayne State University, warned two Republicans on the board how history will view them after they voted to block the certification of votes in Michigan's largest county. The 2-2 decision had been lauded by Republicans but decried by Democrats. Without the county board certification, the state could have delayed validating pivotal votes. During a lengthy public comment session, the vote was described as a targeted attack on majority black Detroit. Of course it was. Stapler threatened Republican board chair Monica Palmer and member William Hartman, saying the stain of racism will follow you throughout history. During the 2-minute public comment, he said their grandchildren remember them as Bull Connor, the Birmingham, Alabama Public Safety Commissioner who opposed the 1960s civil rights movement, or George Wallace, the former Alabama governor who is remembered as a segregationist. Just know when you try to sleep tonight that millions of people around the world now on Twitter know the name Monica Palmer and William Hartman as two people completely racist and without an understanding of what integrity means or shred of human decency. So this led to, surprise, surprise, a series of online attacks and death threats. An online swarm of outraged Michiganders, verified users and amateur internet sleuths turned the topic of a local Zoom meeting into a vicious national frenzy Tuesday night. After Republican members of Wayne County refused to certify the results, Twitter users spammed the site with their names, personal details, links to their social media pages. The goal appeared to be to create offline consequences for the two board members, Palmer and Hartman. Both scrutinized Hartman's Facebook posts going back to 2013. One user called for people to find out where they worked. Another believed they found the Boy Scout troop for which Hartman was a scoutmaster. Some people watching the meeting became outraged when they made an unprecedented move to vote against certifying the election in 43 jurisdictions. And this actually led to the president himself ringing them to ask them how they were. He spoke to them the same evening. He said Palmer said he was checking to make sure I was safe after hearing about the threats and doxing without saying to the outlet I've discussed the decision. Both Palmer and Hartman said they voted against certifying the results after they were enticed. They initially voted against certifying the votes, but then changed their mind after they were enticed to change their decision because they were promised that the votes would be independently audited. But then when they asked about that audit, the Michigan Secretary of State Benson, a Democrat, hedged and only said she would look into it. But by Thursday, Benson confirmed plans for a statewide audit. So There's quite a lot to digest there, but basically they said we're not going to do we're not going to certify it because of the discrepancies in the voter rolls. They didn't match up. They called them a racist. They doxed them. The angry mob went after them. They changed their mind and agreed to it under the condition of an audit. And then they sort of changed their mind about that. But now apparently the audit's going along. But I might just add, if you're committing to doing an audit, but before you do the audit, you proclaim that you did nothing wrong, you're probably not going to find anything wrong in the audit. I feel like that kind of goes against the principle of what the audit's about, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the issue here is we see this time and time again. The definition of racism has just been absolutely changed, hasn't it? It's been changed to mean that you're disagreeing with the Democrats. Can you imagine? These people had serious legal concerns about the fairness of an election, and not only have those concerns been brushed under the rug, they've been in fact replaced by someone calling them a racist. You know, like their children, whenever they Google their father and mother's names, not going to be remembered as, you know, brave kind of people who attempted to guarantee a cherished electoral system most properly. They're going to be remembered as racists and bigots just simply for the sheer amount of hatred and vitriol online for them. Completely mystifying accusation. There's no evidence of racism at all in the slightest. And again, we just, you know, we're not so interested in the case here, are we? Because I think there's no legal precedent for them to rescind their certification of the election. But it's just the precedent dismissing arguments just simply by calling someone a racist. This is 2020 in a nutshell. And worse still, this dude here, this, you know, hero of the progressive movement, he works at Wayne State University. People like him are teaching generations of students, and what he's doing is he's setting an example of looking at a quite, you know, nuanced legal argument and going, haha, well, I think you'll find you're a racist. And all the consequences that come along with that.
Yeah, he deliberately mentions them by name. He's enticing people. He's enticing people to come in, dox that information, send it out, and obviously the angry autistic leftist mob on Twitter, you know, scour through their social medias to find evidence of where they work and what they've done and all of this, and scrutinize every single one of that. Oh, look, this post is racist if you think about it in this particular context. And you know, it's no surprise. We've seen it 100 times. They always do this, rather than kind of and do you know what as well? They're making it out like they're doing something wrong, like they're like trying to stop democracy. It's like, no, hold on, like this is the system. This is the whole point. There's checks and balances. They're supposed to certify results. The votes have to be certified by the canvassers who control the districts. And they're looking at it and they're going, nah, we're not too sure about some of these discrepancies. We think we should probably look into that first before we certify the results, just to make sure. And then they go, oh, no, that's racist. You can't do it. No, that's like part of the process. Like complaining that they're fulfilling their role of the process, which is to have a bipartisan committee that looks into it and makes sure that they're happy with everything. That's the process. You're supposed to do that. They're doing their job. Strong-arming them to changing their mind. That's the only extreme thing that's happening here, threatening people to change their mind because you don't agree with what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so reflective of the decline of discourse, isn't it? I mean, not just in America, but across the entire Western world. I mean, we saw with the Black Lives Matter, which went further and went into the UK. You know, if you tear down a statue of someone whose statue was erected for charitable works and you oppose that, well, you're a racist, you know? It's almost as if this progressive wokeism is taking on a religious element. Like if in the 1500s, if you dissented from the church, they'd call you a heretic, and, you know, your actual legitimate criticism of the church didn't actually mean anything. It's dismissed. And, you know, here, instead of calling you a heretic, they're calling you a racist. It's killing free debate and it's killing free ideas. And it's obscuring the actual definition of racism, because we don't actually know what is racism anymore, because everything's racism. Basically, if we don't do something to stop this progressive agenda, I think we're all going to see the very slow death of the West. But this is why conservatism and Trumpism is so important, because we don't advance the simple arguments and we don't, you know, just kind of take the easy option. We understand the nuance, we respect other people's point of view, regardless of the color of their skin. You know, we argue against arguments and not people. And of course, I assume if you've made it this far in the video, you are a conservative. If you are interested in joining our ever-growing conservative community, please don't forget to subscribe and tell us your opinion in the comments down below. And I think we'll leave it there for today. So thank you. Until next time.